Alright, so we're going to start with 5.4, the sum and difference formulas. And we're going to use the sum and difference formulas when you want to evaluate not standard angles, and the standard angles are we're going to use angles that are 6, pi over 6, pi over 4, pi over 3, pi over 2, pi, all the standard angles that we know their sines, cosines, and tangents. The same thing goes with degrees, and we use also these sum and difference formulas for proving identities and trigonometric formulas. So here you see the different formulas. I'm going to keep on referring to them. So for a couple of minutes, because I'm going to use them, do me the favor and copy these formulas on your notebook so we can be using them. I can try to make it a little bigger, yes. The reason why I'm asking you to copy, especially Sebastian, can you turn left and look behind you? They're there. Okay, so actually you're not gonna be able to have these, so that's why you're all copying them so you can use them. So you have sine of u plus v, you get sine u cosine v plus cosine u sine v. The difference is sine u minus v, and you get sine u cosine v minus the switch cosine u sine v.
Is this in the book?
Of course this is in the book, but I want you to practice the skill to copy it if you can. Is that something you can do as a learning experience? Bora?
Yes.
Thank you, Bora. That's very kind of you. Then you have cosine of the sum, which is cosine u cosine v minus sine u sine v. And then cosine of the difference, u minus v, and you get cosine u cosine v plus sine u sine v. Notice that the signs are changing. So you can come up with your own mnemonic devices. So sine of the sum, you just do sine cosine uv plus cosine sine uv. For the difference, you start with sine cosine of uv, and then you subtract cosine sine uv. And for the sum of the cosines, you start with cosines and then you subtract sines. And the reversely, for the difference of the cosines, you start with the cosines and you add the sines. Are you guys alright? You're almost done?
Yeah.
Vinny, you're almost done? Okay. I see that you're fixing this. So I'm going to move ahead to the next slide to show you how they are used. So let's see how they are used. We have find the exact value of sine pi over 12. So pi over 12, Damon, we don't know how to. We haven't memorized something on the unit circle with pi over 12, but you have to think, and it's not. I'm not saying it's easy, but you have to think how I can make pi over 12 with one of our known angles. So it's a combination of pi thirds minus pi fourths. So pi over 12 in terms of fraction is 4 pi over 12 minus 3 pi over 12. So you can express pi over 12 as a difference of pi thirds minus pi fourths. So you use the difference formula, sine of pi over 12 equals sine of pi thirds minus of sine pi fourths. So you get sine pi thirds cosine pi fourths minus cosine pi thirds sine pi fourths here. And then we know what is sine pi thirds. Sine pi thirds is square root of 3 over 2. cosine pi fourths is square root of 2 over 2, minus cosine pi thirds will give you 1/2, and sine of pi fourths will give you square root of 2 over 2. And then finally you perform the arithmetic and you get square root of 6 minus square root of 2 over 2. So practice this one. Find the exact value of cosine pi over 12. You will have to use the same, or you will have to break pi over 12 in the same manner. So this is a first test. So today we don't have Jason. Can we say hello, Jason? 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Hello, Jason. Who else is not here? Roman. Can we say with 1, 2, 3? 1, 2, 3. Hello, Roman. And who else is not here? And Luis. 1, 2, 3. Hello, Luis. Okay. Very good. So I'm sure right now Jason, Roman, and Luis will be emailing all of us the answer to this question. Okay, I'm sure now that they are hearing us, they are doing it also. Right, boys?
Yes. Very nice.
He knows. He was one of the people. All right. So how are we going to express? How are we going to express cosine of pi over 12? So cosine of pi over 12 is cosine of what? How can I express pi over 12? We just did it a minute ago. Is pi over 3 minus pi over 4. And what is the formula that we used? The difference of the signs is going to be the sum, if you notice. So what is the formula? And to put it down on the side, I will put it here down on the side. So it's this formula. It's the fourth formula. So it's cosine pi thirds times cosine pi over 4. The difference becomes the sum. It's the opposite. So plus sine pi thirds times sine pi over 4. And now you use. Are you guys alright with this? Okay. And now we use our knowledge of the unit circle, which by now should be very strong. Cosine of pi thirds is going to be 1/2. Cosine of pi over 4 is square root of 2 over 2. Plus sine of pi thirds should be square root of 3 over 2. And sine of pi fourths is square root of 2 over 2. So all together you get the denominator of 2. And you get on the top square root of 2 minus root 2 minus, it's not very clear where I'm writing my 3's, unfortunately. So here there was a 3. So it's root 2 plus root 6 over 2. Any comments on this?
Why is it
Over 4. You're correct. I was doing it on purpose to see if you're paying attention. Are we good with over 4? Thank you very much. So to answer, to show why it goes over 4, 2 times 2 is 4, and that's how you deal with it. So the same kind of idea would work with degrees. So find the exact value of cosine 75. The 75, it's not one of the known angles. So I want to express 75 using the known angles. The known angles are 30, 45, 60, 90, 180, etc. So 75 can be expressed as the sum of 30 plus 45. So we're going to use cosine of the sum, which becomes the difference. It's the difference, so cosine of 30 times cosine 45 minus sine 30 sine 45. You use the cosine 30 square root of, you find the values from the unit circle, and you find the answer, square root of 6 minus root 6 minus root 2 over 4. So practice this, the sine of 75. I'm going to, bless you. Bless you. So how can we express sine of 75? Sine of 75 degrees equals the sine of what?
30
Of
plus 40.
30
Plus 40.
plus 45. And now from the formulas I gave you, you're using formula 1 because it's the sum of the sines. So sine of 30 cosine of 45 plus sine of 45 cosine of 30. And by the way, while you're at home, you can use these formulas. And if you were here, you would be given these formulas as well. Okay? So, what is sine of 30? Is 1/2. Cosine of 45 is root 2 over 2 plus sine of 45 is root 2 over 2, and cosine of 30 is root 3 over 2, and you get the beautiful answer, root 2 plus root 6 over 4. Any comments or issues on that? Are we alright? Are we? Yes, Amer?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So a little harder situation now. Not a lot, it's similar to what we have been doing. So find the exact value of the sum of sine of u plus v, given that sine of u is 4/5, where u is on the first quadrant and cosine of v is negative 12, 13, where v, how can we read this? So pi halves between between pi halves and pi, we are in quadrant 2. I'm going to ask you for a big favor, especially because you might be sending photographs for this topic. Make sure that you write your u's and your v's clearly, because I've been in a situation that they look the same, alright? So make sure that your u's and your v's look distinctly different, okay? I need to be able to see if you're writing a u or a v. Alright, so figure 5.4, we're doing the u sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So I have the opposite, which is 4, the hypotenuse, which is 5. So I solve for the adjacent, and it's 3. Similarly, and I'm in quadrant 1, similarly, cosine v is negative 12 over 13 in quadrant 2. So I have adjacent over hypotenuse, and I'm doing so it's 12, 13, I'm doing Pythagorean, and I find 5 for the opposite. And notice that the 12 is negative for this situation. So that means that I need to be able to find, I have sine u, so I need to be able to find cosine u. So from here you get that cosine u is, what is cosine u here in this situation? I have sine u, so what is cosine u in this situation? 3 over 5, excellent. And here I have cosine u, which is negative 12 over 3. So what is sine u, sine v, sorry. What is sine v? 5 over 13, that's it. So 5 over 13. We already know what is sine u here. Sine u, because it was given to us, it was 4/5. 4/5. And we already knew what cosine v was, is negative 12 over 13. So if you have these four quantities, you can do everything. So if you have sine and cosine of u and sine and cosine of v, then you just use the formula sine u plus v is the sum of sine u cosine v cosine u cosine v. You substitute, then you do the arithmetic. So do the same thing for this problem where cosine u can find cosine of the sum, where sine of u is 12 over 13 on the first quadrant, and cosine v is negative 3 over 5 on the second quadrant, which means what I'm looking for two diagrams, alright? I'm looking for two quick diagrams on the correct quadrant. Does that make sense? Bora, it makes sense?
Yes.
Good. So the first diagram will be the u in quadrant 1. U, and we know that sine of u is 12 over 13. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse, which is 12, 13. So what is going to be the adjacent? The adjacent is going to be 13 squared minus 12 squared, which is 169 minus 144, which is square root of 25, which is 5, if I'm not mistaken. You got a new calculator.
Wasn't sure if I put mine in my bag, so I
For the test. Alright, so we got this. We also, I'm going to do a second quadrant for V. So for V, you get cosine is adjacent over so we have a visitor in the class. We're recording the lesson to send it to the 3 students that are missing right now.
Great.
So we're saying hello from to the 3 people. Hello guys. We're saying hello to Jason, Roman, and Lewis. Hello boys.
Hey guys.
Send me a message to see if you can recognize the voice that just spoke, okay? And I will tell him if you recognized him.
Alright, thank you. Perfect. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
So V. You think they're gonna recognize? They're gonna recognize his voice.
No, they aren't.
I'll tell you. I will post it on the forum. So V. Negative 3 is here. Negative 3 is here. 5 is here. So I think it's. Do I need to do? Do you all know what the opposite is?
Yeah, 4.
4. Do we all know it? Okay, 4. So, since this is 4, I can find, so what do we know? We know sine of u equals 12 over 13. So, we know that cosine of u equals, help out boys and girls.
What?
5 over 13.
5. So cosine adjacent over hypotenuse 5 over 13. And then here we know that sine of sine of v is 4/5, and we were given that cosine of v equals negative 3 over 5. Okay? Okay, and very easily we have cosine of u. You actually found it. Cosine of u plus v is going to be cosine of u sine of v. Cosine of u is cosine of v. The plus becomes minus sine of u sine of v equals cosine of u is what? We have it 5 over 13, 5 over 13 times cosine of v negative 3/5 minus sine of u 12 over 13 times sine of v 4/5. Okay, who can do this quickly? 13 times 5 will give me, that's the denominator, 13 times 5,
65.
13 times 5 is what is it? 65, and the top is minus 15, so negative 15 minus 12 times 4. So negative 63 over 65. How do you guys feel about that? How do you guys feel about it? Are we alright? Tell me, kind of. What is the kind of thing?
Just putting the whole thing together.
Just putting the whole thing together. It needs a little bit of practice. So,
It's a lot of
the-
steps.
it's a lot of steps. These problems are a lot of steps. So, one diagram for the V. It's always I'm going to tell you this for a fact. You will always have to deal with two. Up to now, we were dealing only with one angle. Now, definitely will be two of them, and not only two of them that we will need to combine. So this is the process for U on the left. This is the process on the right bubble. The process for V, and then you use the formula. I'm going to stop here. You will have homework, so I'm going to stop at this step. For Monday, you will have a quiz 5.1, 5.3 plus the homework for 5.4, the first one. We will deal with 5.4 3 times. So we will be finishing 5.4, chapter 5.4 next Friday actually, because Monday we have the quiz and then 3 lessons to finish 5.4. And now for people that are not going to be here, they're going to get a link and they're going to have to do the test or the quiz on their own on Monday. So I'll see you guys later on.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Say bye to the boys with a 3. 1, 2, 3. Bye.